What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Fidens Brewing Company, and they're out of Albany, New York, and this is their Blue Skies. So they're calling this one a double IPA that is brewed with Citra, Mosaic, and Nelson Sauvin hops. It comes in at 8% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. This can is approximately 3 weeks old, so it's been a while since I reviewed a beer from Fidens on the channel. I think the last one I reviewed from them was back in the fall of last year, probably November-ish. So yeah, I got my hands on a couple cans recently, so we are going to review both of them, and we'll start with this one. So Citric, Mosaic, and Nelson, great hop trio there, and it's Fidens, so I'm expecting this beer to be good. It's Fidens, right? Like, all the hype behind them and everything, but I've had a lot of beers from them, and yes, they make delicious hop-forward beer. So anyway, let's give it a pour. Yeah, it has that milky Fidens look. When I pour Fidens beers now, the first time I had their stuff was maybe like almost like maybe a year and a half ago. They didn't have the crazy, I mean, this almost looks like a heavily fruited sour when it pours out, like that has like orange or tangerine. It has that milky yellow, like golden orange color. It just looks kind of like, you know, like orange juice in a glass. Had almost a finger of an off-white creamy looking head that's displayed to about a half finger now. Yeah, it's murky, it's turbid. It's kind of what a lot of folks want out of their New England IPAs and double IPAs and triple IPAs nowadays. But, you know, in the Fidens glass with the blue font, the blue label, it's a match. It's a perfect match here. It's a match made in heaven. So anyway, let's get a nose on this one. Yeah, it fucking smells awesome. I mean, it smells like a fruit bowl of awesomeness. Like, there's pineapple, there's grapes, white grapes specifically. There's like a berry essence, like blueberries mixed with raspberries. There is this slight vanilla tinge, I think, coming from the yeast. A lot of times I'll say vanilla in New England hop-forward beers, and I'm like, oh, where's that coming from? And then a couple folks were like, it might be coming from the yeast, because a lot of folks will get like bubblegum with the yeast. And for me, I feel like it doesn't come off as bubblegum and more like a vanilla-esque kind of sweetness. But yeah, there's overripened peaches and apricots. There's pineapple. A little bit of like a Tangelo juiciness, perceived juiciness. Yeah, it's a fruit bowl of just like elevated. Like there's like 8 different fruits in the bowl and you don't know where to begin. That's kind of what this is in the nose. There's a very slight grassy herbaceousness as well from the hops. It smells top tier. It smells awesome. It looks awesome. I'm sure it's going to taste awesome. Cheers. Yeah, that is, to me, a top-tier hazy. Double IPA. That's what that is. It's kind of, I mean, personally, after that first sip, we'll see if it builds. But the one thing stylistically that I enjoy more than probably the average New England style IPA drinker, I like a little bit more bitterness. I want like mild approaching, like I want approaching moderate bitterness. Not quite like a West Coast style IPA, but I want something that has a little bit of a bitterness, whether it's like a resinous pine or just even like an earthy kind of herbaceous bitterness. A lot of hazies don't do that because the style's supposed to be softer and lighter on the bitterness. I get it, but for me, that's kind of where I'm at, right? Like almost like the hybrid. That's why I like the new school West Coast IPAs, because it has a little bit more of the juiciness and like almost New England vibe from the fruitiness mixed in with a West Coast IPA. Anyway, I'm kind of going off on a tangent. Another sip. So that's the first thing I'll say about this one. I want a little bit more bitterness. There is a very substantial dryness here, though, so that's welcomed. Mouthfeel. This is thick. Not like super thick, but this is like lower side of full body at 8%. It looks thick. It drinks thick. It's kind of what Fidens does. But what Fidens does the best, and the first time I had their beers, and you can go back and look at the reviews, I think it was like early 2022. I think that was the first time I had some of their beers. What they do well is their mouthfeel. From the first time I had any of their beers, I was like, they are in the treehouse, other half, hot butcher realm for me personally with the mouthfeel. And this is another one. It's soft, it's smooth, and it's creamy. Don't think they're using lactose, so that's more impressive that they're not. They don't say it. I don't think they are. But it's one of those things where it's like, the fucking mouthfeel is dynamite, okay? It's top tier. The taste, the nose carries over. Maybe not as vibrant with the fruitiness, but it's there. From the palate, it's that Tangelo juiciness. Then it kind of morphs into like a peach apricot over ripened fruit. Halfway through the palate, there's a little bit of a candied berry that hits, like a candied blueberry, candied raspberry. And then after that, I get like white grape mixed in with like a little bit of pineapple, but it's more like a white grape, like a juicy white grape. Omnipresent vanilla character, and again, I don't think they're using lactose in here, but the vanilla is probably coming from the yeast, so yeah, it has a little bit of like a confectionery vanilla sweetness, very slight, but it's noticeable. On the finish, this finish is almost full-on dry with a nice grassy herbaceousness on the finish for me. 8%, I can tell it's 8% because of the body, the mouthfeel, the flavors, like the intensity screams, you know, Imperial, Double, Triple IPA, something in that realm, right? But I don't taste the alcohol. There's absolutely no alcohol acidity, a little warming in the chest, nothing on the palate. I didn't anticipate it, and I don't get it. It's a fucking delicious beer. This is what Fidens does. They just, you know, the hype is real with Fidens. I was initially skeptical the first couple beers I had from them. I wasn't blown away by any, but they got all 4 of the beers. They were sent to me by a good friend of mine, fellow beer tuber Kyle over at No Hype Beer Reviews. Go check him out. Great guy, great content. Gets his hands on Fidens a lot because he lives in Albany. He sent me 4 beers, and I think they got between a 4.2 and like a 4.5, all 4 of the beers, right? They were, you could tell quality through and through, but none of them kind of blew my mind. And this isn't blowing my mind, but this is what Fidens does. I've had some since then that blow my mind, but this is just a fucking delicious hazy double IPA, New England Double IPA, whatever you want to call it. It's well made. I think all 3 of the hops are showcased. I think the Nelson with that white grape kind of finish for me definitely sticks out more so than everything else. But it's just, this is a fruit bowl of awesomeness, as I said at the beginning. And the only knock on this one, and it's not anything to do with Fidens or anything other than the style dictates this shouldn't have a lot of bitterness. It doesn't. I'd like a little bit more bitterness for a personal preference. But that said, Blue Skies from Fidens, absolutely no issues giving this one a straight 4.5 out of 5. This is delicious. Seek it out if they brew this one again, or you can get your hands on it. By the time you see this review, it'll probably be almost a month old, but like Fidens stuff, I've had some of their stuff 6-7 months old, or not months, 6 or 7 weeks old, and they've still been really good. A lot of times these Fidens beers, I'm drinking this one 3 weeks old, and sometimes they have a substantial hop burn. There's no hop burn here, so maybe they're, you know, doing a lot better with that in recent times. Price point availability, this is where it could go sideways for some. Here in Buffalo, one place has gotten a couple drops of them recently, and that's the Beer Keep on Elmwood Ave in Buffalo. I think I don't know for sure, but I think they're driving to the brewery and bringing it back. Typically at the brewery, I think this would be like $5.50 a can max, maybe $5 to $5.50. They charge $7.50. I'm totally okay with paying a couple bucks more a can. Why? Albany's like a 8.5, 9 hour round trip from Buffalo. So I don't have to make that trip. I can pick up singles, and at Fidens you can buy singles, but I don't have to make that trip. So, you know, saving on time, gas money, the whole 9, for $2 more a can, I'm okay with it. And if you see Fidens in your neck of the woods, and I'm sure whoever is getting their hands on them outside of Albany is probably doing the same thing, whether you're in New York State or outside of the state. I don't think they get any really like proper distro. So I'd be curious, anybody out there, if you get their stuff and you're outside of Albany and outside of New York State, what do you pay for a can of their stuff? I'd assume anywhere from like $6.50 to probably like, you know, $10 a can. But $7.50, I'm not going to hate it. I think that's a pretty good price, considering that the cool thing about the Beer Keep, I got to check them out. I haven't went to their actual physical location yet. I did a couple delivery orders from them through DoorDash, and it's crazy getting Fidens delivered to my front door from a local place. Like, it blows my mind. I've got to go check out the Beer Keep. Always cool to have new bottle shops and beer shops in my area. You know, I still shop mostly at Premier Gourmet and Amherst, and then Brewed and Bottled in Lewiston. But I got to check out the Beer Keep. It's nice to have, you know, a multitude of different places to shop at. And availability is Fidens. Like I said, I don't know. Like, you might see them in your neck of the woods, you might not. They're opening up a new facility, I think, shortly, maybe by the end of this year, maybe this summer. I don't know. It's got to be pretty soon because they're hiring as of right now. I think they're hiring at their new location. So maybe we'll see even better distro in the next couple months, into like 6 months to a year. But yeah, great brewery, great fucking hazies. They deserve the hype. If you had never had any Fidens, seek them out. They do great stuff. If you had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it. I think this is delicious, and I'm going to go drink the rest of it and enjoy every single second of it. To the next one. Cheers.